Hi, this is Monica Mitchell-Muir, and today I want to show you the features that you would pick up when you are in QuickBooks Premier versus QuickBooks Pro. I know when I work with many of my clients, one of the first things we're looking at is what version would be best for them. And if you're like me, you like to actually see what it is. Sometimes someone telling you just it doesn't always click. So I always like to see. So that's why we're doing. I'm not showing you everything that Premier does because it does much everything that Pro does, but I am going to highlight simply the differences that you would see. So one of the first things I want you to realize, and maybe some of you do, is that when you get Premier, you can actually pick your industry. Now, I will tell you that I'm in the Accountants Edition right now, and the Accountants Edition is sometimes priced differently than the rest of them. But if you go, and as the Accountants Edition, I can actually get access to all of the other editions, whereas if you just purchase one edition, I would say a regular industry, then you're not going to have that choice without uninstalling and reinstalling, but that's always doable. So just so you can see that here are the different industries. So there is a general business. I don't usually recommend that. I mean, most of my clients, when they go in Premier, we want something specific, so we tend to use one of these. So there's the contractors, manufacturing and wholesale, nonprofit, professional services, retail. And because accountants quite often work with clients who are in Pro, this gives us the ability to actually see what their software looks like. And for those of you that are maybe retail-oriented, I still prefer the manufacturing and wholesale edition. I just think that the reporting and the tools available work better that way. And as an accountant, then I can obviously toggle over to a different edition. When you have an industry-specific edition, and you'll see this later when I toggle into a different one, instead of it saying accountant here, yours will be, it might be contractor or manufacturing and wholesale or nonprofit, whatever you selected. And then under the reports, then you'll have, above the company and financial, you'll actually have your industry-specific reports, whereas the Accountants Edition, we actually go down to get those, but then we can access all the reports. So I do like that. And just see if there's anything else I want to mention. Oh, and one other thing that the Accountants Edition is able to do is work on 2 companies at one time. So you can see here I can open a second company, and I know many of my clients do have more than one, and sometimes there's billing that's going on back and forth between the 2 companies, or they're just things that you need to do often. So you can certainly do that. A tip, if you're going to work in more than one company file, and this applies even if you're in QuickBooks Pro, it just means you have to close the company file and open up a new one. But if you go under My Preferences, then you can choose here to pick a different color. So I always say keep your company files in different colors so it's really obvious which one you're in. Another feature that maybe sometimes underused, but you can have price levels, and when you are in QuickBooks Pro, all you can do is a fixed percent, which says that, my commercial clients get, in this case, they get a 10% discount on all of our regular pricing. And the residential, then they get a discount of 5%, or maybe certain ones. And again, it's like it's taking an items list, instead of having to have all these different items for all these different rates. It says that you can have one item, and based on who they are, then they automatically get this rate. In Premier, you can actually do per item, and you can do a very specific dollar amount if you want. So that is really nice when you're setting that up on there. So that does give you a lot more flexibility if that's important to you. Another feature found in the list, this applies instead of to your customers, this applies to your employees and vendors. And this one doesn't have any billing set up, but it says that if you've got, say, a foreman or a crew leader or supervisor that bills out at a different rate than someone else on staff, then you can name that rate, and they are either a fixed hourly rate, or you might find, depending on the work that they do, that their rate varies. And so here you can come in and be very specific. So the first step would be to create the billing rate that you see here, and then the next step would be to assign it to your vendor or your employee. But then, again, you don't have to have, and I've seen this in items lists where people have like the same item and they've listed it 5 times because they're all different rates because they're trying to accommodate the different staff that's doing the work. So that does simplify there. Another feature that you get in Premier is you can invoice for time and expenses. And while you can do this in Pro you do it one at a time. So you don't get to see this list. So what's nice is I can actually see this entire list, and I get my time and my and all my expenses all shown up in one place. But you can also then click on several and create an invoice all at once if you feel good about the numbers that are in there. So it's a quick way to generate a lot of invoicing. Another feature, those of you who deal with retail and commerce and inventory, you quite often think in terms of sales orders. So in Premier, you get sales orders. In Pro, you can't do sales orders. So I've had customers who just automatically got QuickBooks Pro, and then we're finding out that, oh, I can't do a sales order, and they needed to bump up to Premier. So Premier, you can do sales orders, and you can start with an estimate, and from there create a sales order. If you have a sales order, you need to purchase stuff, you can create right from there. You can invoice off of your sales order, and you can also run reports based on these sales orders. But another feature, some of you, and so you'll see down at the bottom here, you can see open sales orders by customer, by item. But for those of you in the trades, then you generally don't think in terms of sales orders, but you do work orders. So you could actually do the same thing. So you could create, and you can customize the template so that instead of it saying sales order, it says work order, and you can take off the pricing so your guys, your staff just sees, here's the work that needs to get done, here's the number of items, whatever. But then you can actually have your work order, and then from the work order, you can choose to invoice if you want. So, and then you can also see what work orders are still open. So that can be a nice feature for some of the contractors. If you deal with inventory, then quite often you buy in bulk and then you sell in smaller amounts. So under items and inventory here, there's an option to do multiple units per item. So you buy by the case, you sell by packs of 3 or individually. You buy by the pallet, and you sell in boxes of 12 or something. So you can set up multiple units of measure, so sometimes that makes it a lot easier when you're trying to calculate what you want to do. You can also, and I'm going to open up a second company file so you can see how this might look. You can also do if you've got several sales orders and you're trying to decide which ones you can do now versus later. And you'll see now this one says primary, and this is the Rock Castle, which all of you would have access to. And if I come over to, I guess this is still opening. Maybe I should just close it out and pull up a new one. So we'll give it another minute, and if not, I'm going to close that file and just go. Let me do that. So let me just open a previous company here and pull up this wholesale company so you can see. And I'm going to close out that other one. It's being too slow for me. So in this wholesale file, you'll get a better chance to see the sales order fulfillment worksheet. So if you have multiple sales orders open and you're trying to figure out which ones you can fill right now, or, and people call in and they need things in a hurry or different times. So first off, you can choose in here how you want to prioritize the sales orders that you're going to fill. So, you can do it by ship date, you can do it by open amount, what you can actually fill, when the sales order was entered. But what you'll see is that when you have a full green circle, it says that you have everything that you can fill. This yellow circle says that I can't fill everything, so this is the one that's highlighted. If I come down here, I can see what I can fill and what I can't fill. And then if I come down here, you can see that I can fill all. If I change this and go into maybe by the date that it was entered, now notice we get a new one. This one says we don't have the materials for this particular order. So it can be nice, and then from here you can do your picking list and your pack slips. So that is nice, again, for those of you that deal with inventory. And just going down, I'm working off of, I forgot to mention this in the beginning, I have a feature comparison chart. And if you don't have that, it should be on the website where you found the video. And if not, you can try muirassociates.com/choosqb, as in QuickBooks.html. And there should be a chart there. And I'm just working down the chart, and all I'm doing, again, is highlighting the differences between what you would get in Premiere that you would not get in Pro. And the other thing I forgot to even start off with is that in Premiere, you can have up to 5 users. Pro, you can have only up to 3 users. So that sometimes is a difference for people. And then getting back to, there's a few more features that you pick up with inventory when you are in, this did open up both. So when you are in the Premiere Edition, so there's actually an inventory center. So in the center, now I can see all the inventory, and while you could see that in QuickBooks Pro, what you would get is all the purchase activity. But here you can also see the sales activity as well. So it's nice. You can actually see both sides of the transactions that are going on with the different materials that you are buying and selling on there. And because you have sales orders, then as already mentioned, you can do purchase orders from your sales orders. You can also create assemblies and bill of materials. So that's something that you can't do in Pro. So here you can see you can build assemblies. And if I go, and I'm not sure if we've got assemblies or not in here, I have to double check. This one might not have an assembly. But if I were to go back to my home page and build assemblies, I don't have any. So let me go back into our castle and see if there's an assembly in here. And I think there is. So if I go back here to build an assembly, I do have one. So with an assembly, it says that all these components are together. And it's kind of like your recipe that you have for those of you that work with assemblies. You can't do assemblies in QuickBooks Pro. When you do an assembly, you literally pull these items out of your inventory and put them in the new item. So in this example, they're going to build an interior door kit. So we're going to remove those doorknobs and the doors and the hinges from inventory and put them together to build this door. So now you have a door in stock that you didn't have before. So it works a little bit differently, but it is, again, for those of you that do kits or different types of assemblies, and you can do sub-assemblies, it is a really nice feature and not available in Pro. And let me see, then the other thing, just so you know, that there's one other, well, I'll do the reporting first. So with the reporting, then because they're industry specific, then you actually get additional reports. And to me, that's one of the, aside from some of the features, that's a big reason. So you get, for those of you who are contractors, you get additional job cost reports that you did not have available in Pro. And actually list those out in the chart. So like for one would be like expenses not assigned to jobs. You want to make sure you pick them all up. The cost to complete if you've got a big job. Your billed and unbilled activity might be of help, and then also cost to complete if you've got larger projects. And then if you are in manufacturing and wholesale, then you get to see your inventory reports, and you get to see your sales volume by customer, which is kind of nice, and your products, sales by products, sales by class and item type. So different reports that you have. And also with when you are in the Premiere, you can, and we might have to switch editions. There is a return materials authorization, RMAs. So for those of you that deal a lot with inventory, you're returning stuff, you can do your RMAs with the Premiere Edition. And I'm just checking out, see if there's anything else I want to mention in the reports. The other thing I'm going to do, let me close this file out real quickly. And then I'm going to switch editions and go into the Contractors Edition. And the reason being is that there is one feature in here that we can't access from the Accountants Edition. I think everything else we can, so go figure. And this one is for insurance. So especially those of you in the trades where you are having to keep up with your subcontractors and whether or not they have insurance, when the insurance expires, so you get the new certificate. There's actually a field that will let you track that in QuickBooks, and then you are able to pull that in. So let me go back into this one, and we should be able to see that field. And it will be in the Vendor Center. I'll show you as we go into our vendors. Yeah, I just updated this morning so you can see all the new stuff. So if I go into my Vendor Center here and go into Edit a Vendor, down under Additional Information, you can see here's the dates for their insurance expiring. And then also, again, because I'm in the contractor, there's actually a Job Cost Center, which I say it's so-so. It was the precursor to what you see as far as the snapshot now, but it does show you kind of like the top 3 and bottom 3 jobs, so that sometimes is nice. But then as far as reports, I've got contractor reports, and then from here in some of these reports, so we could actually run, they don't have a specific report, but you can filter. So you can get a list of the insurance dates on your contractors, but that you only can grab that field when you're in the Contractors Edition. You can't do that from the Accountants Edition. And let me just see if there's anything else I wanted to mention. The Accountants Edition, I'll need to toggle back in there, has what we call the QuickBooks Statement Writer. So if any of you are accountants and you actually have to do financial reporting for your clients, then that certainly is often worth the time to switch and have the Accountants Edition. So I'm going to go back home there, and let me see if there's anything else I wanted to mention on the differences in the products. I think that really is it. So if you have other questions, let us know. The Accountants Edition sometimes is priced differently than the regular Premier, and as far as the specials, I'm always notified of when there are specials, and sometimes one will be on special and the other won't. But anytime that the Accountants Edition is on sale and on special, then that's usually the one I recommend for my clients, because then you have access to everything and you don't have to pick and choose. But although I would say many of my clients are just simply happy with having an industry-specific product to work with. So any other questions, then feel free to contact our office by phone or by email. And thank you so much for your time. Bye-bye.